where you have a tendency to forget the things you're trying to work on as you're going in, and you're running into the problem where like you're struggling with applying the things you've been working on. Obviously, we've talked about a lot of things you can work on, but if you're just not able to remember to put them into action, then I'd say there are a couple things that you can do. Firstly, is come into your gameplay sessions and maybe like just get into the habit of, before you actually play any games, read through the notes that I've left you, right? And then
Mhm.
that way it's freshly in your mind. This is what I'm supposed to be working on for right now, right? So you're picking out the thing you're trying to work on, and if you really need the extra, anything else, you can maybe leave yourself sticky notes, on your desk, on your monitor, things like that, that can remind you as you're going in. But the big thing is that you want to give yourself a reminder before you start the match, so that you're not starting the match and then you're just autopiloting and just playing to play. Because if you're just coming in and you're just kind of doing your thing, well, then you're not going to remember to work on anything. You're not going to improve on anything. So give yourself those reminders before you even hop into a game. That way, when you are in the game, you can give yourself the active reminders while you're playing. So you can think to yourself, actively focus on your gameplay and think to yourself, positioning, 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 cover, 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 and give yourself those reminders. And then that will help improve your gameplay. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. And another thing that might help me that I just had a thought about. See, when I'm in comp, I'm concentrating on winning, right? I'm concentrating
Mm,
on ranking stuff like that, right? I don't
mm,
like to lose. Maybe if I were um going about a game to in particularly work on something, maybe it'd help if I just did quick play and then
mm,
focused on
mm-hmm.
those things because winning or losing doesn't affect my rank there.
Yep, for sure. Like 100%. That can like, if you feel like there's pressure to uh kind of produce results, then pressure to perform, then yeah, you can just hop over to like an unrated match and do that. But then even in your competitive matches, I would encourage you to swap where your attention is, because obviously it's not a bad thing to be competitive, it's not a bad thing to want to win your games, but the problem is that when that's the only thing you're thinking about, that can just blind you and mean that you're just kind of stagnating, because you're just kind of doing your thing and autopiloting, and you're not actually improving on anything. But when you focus, even if you're trying to win, if your focus while you're playing is on improvement, well, then it changes a couple things. So first thing, now you're not as stressed because you're now isolating. This individual match doesn't have to be a win, because I'm focusing on improving this match. And then that means that you're going to not be as stressed about it. It's also going to help you actually get better at the game. And when you actually get better at the game, then you will just naturally start climbing and winning games. So overall, if you focus on improvement, then you'll get your end result of winning games and climbing in rank.
Yeah, no, it makes sense logically for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. So did you have any other questions for me before we get started?
No, we can get started.
All right, cool. Well, I'll just be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about then.
Hustle up. Just what I was looking for. Area denial.
Yep, I think this is a pretty good decision to just step forwards if your Doomfist is like just pushing into their spawn here, because you're kind of out of range up on that high ground, but now you're putting yourself back in range to put your disruptor shots and actually land shots. And then if they push in, all you have to do is just turn around and slide back up to high ground, right? If they
Right.
start taking any space. So I think this is a good decision.
Uh-huh. Outfought.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Now that Doomfist is dead, oh, are we gonna do it? I would probably retake high ground now.
Yeah, it looks like I'm thinking about it.
Yep,
Dodge this.
because now we don't have anything stopping them from pushing in like a Doomfist. Plus, the other thing is that us being pushed for like a little bit pushed forwards kind of encourages our team to push forwards too. Just like how you saw that when your Doomfist pushed forwards into their spawn, that encouraged you guys to also push forwards. So when one person's up standing up front, then kind of everybody kind of stands up front because that's the play to make. You want to play with your team, but that's not necessarily the best positioning for your team. It'd probably be better if you had high ground and then you just kind of let them push into this choke area, and just kind of spam them from there. That'd probably be best for your team. So just backing up and taking that can help encourage your team to engage from there. Okay. Watch crosshair placement. That's something we've talked about, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So you can see here as we're coming around, and you're like, oh, there's somebody over here, right? I think you heard her. Good awareness. You heard her shooting. So you're running over here and you're trying to find the Sojourn, but look at where your crosshair's at, right? If we take that and we just go over to the side, we're like aiming at our kneecaps here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we turn this corner and we're shooting at a Sojourn, we're not going to be hitting headshots. Good disruptor shot, good awareness where she's at. You adjust it up a little bit, but we're still like kind of at that back level. So you can see like right below the head, so we hit body shots instead of headshots. So aiming up a hair more. Melt her much quicker. Oh, that could have been a kill if we landed like one headshot. Right? But
Yeah, or if I'd have fired the rail.
Yep. But good job pressuring her out. Nice rail. Oof. So many people low HP. Maybe could have tried to send out a disruptor. Oh my goodness, Doomfist, that's nasty.
Disrupting.
Yeah, good job disengaging when you started getting pushed on. So far, this is going pretty smooth, but from the 23-minute timer, I'm assuming it doesn't stay this way.
Nah, it gets a little hairy.
Okay, so Doomfist finally dies because he's kind of pushed into their spawn. It was good that you were. I liked that while Doomfist was pushing into their spawn, you were pushing up a little bit too to try to support him. That's better than just letting him flat up go in and feed and die, because then you can't. You're not like hardcore going in and feeding yourself, but you're being there to maybe get some kills. And it actually worked for a little while, right? Probably better than if you just sat back up on the high ground, where technically that's the best positioning. If he's pushing into their spawn, then you probably want to go and support a tiny bit, which is what you did for the most part. But what's maybe the issue now?
Well, I'm face to face with Orisa now, and everybody's coming in.
Yep, so we're down our Doomfist, down our tank, who was taking all the pressure off us. And the problem is that instead of backing up like we should be doing right now, we should be waiting for Doomfist to come back. We should just be retaking high ground right now and just backing up. But instead, we kind of push back forwards, right, and run back into the Orisa, which probably just gonna get you melted pretty quick. Which Orisa kind of helps us out there, but pretty easily could have gotten you melted. Okay, body shots, right? Crosshair placement, aiming up a little bit more. Right, you can see like where you're at on Orisa here. You see where you're at on like, even like here, you can see where you're at on like Sojourn and Bastion in the back. Right, beats. Oof, almost. Good job retaking high ground, but we drop immediately, right? So maintain that high ground, right? Remember, it's advantageous to you. It's cover, it's visibility, it's survivability. No one on their team can get to you besides their Sojourn, right? Unless they like go all the way around and take the stairs. So if you have your Mercy healing you up there, you're going to be able to sustain up there pretty long as they're pushing in, and you can kind of shoot them. Look at the visibility you have here, right? Like, we can kind of only really see that one Ana, like, all the way in the back. Just
Now.
limits you. We could, if we're on high ground, we can contest their Sojourn off high ground.
No one can hide from my sight.
Disrupting.
Very nice.
Efficient design at
Good
work.
disruptor shots so far, and railguns. Ability usage has been pretty solid.
Now.
Alright, so get some good shots. We have to defend point. What's the issue here, right? Because this is very winnable, right? This is a 4v2. This is in very winnable territory, but I'm gonna presume we lose this fight at the moment because they push through. Let's see, we res. Okay. Oh, maybe they don't actually. No, we do. We do lose it after a very long fight. All right. But so let's come back here to when we first died.
We have to
Okay.
defend the point.
We get some good kills.
This ends now.
Okay, we slide in. We get aggro. We end up dying. Why do you think we die here?
But I think the better play, instead of sliding right there and then now I have no cooldown to get out, I think it'd have been better if I'd have just walked off of high ground, slid up to the top right here on high ground, and then maybe ulted, got the Mercy first.
Yep. So a bit of positioning. So we're just kind of smack dab in the middle. We don't have any abilities. So maybe misuse of abilities. So I agree 100%. Maybe sliding up to that high ground would have been better. We're just kind of positioning smack dab in the open where Orisa can just push you super easy. You can see like a minor thing is that like we're doing the same thing we did before, where we're just like pushing forwards into the Orisa instead of backing up as far as you can, right? Because Orisa's a little bit more brawly than you are. So watch pushing towards her. But yes, I agree with your assessment. Positioning, take high grounds, don't be on the open. Even something as simple as be a little bit closer to the side, right, where we can just run away. And saving slides so you can take the high ground. Okay, so we get res. What do we do with it right now?
I'll return the favor.
Okay, maybe adjusting to Mercy a little bit late there. We're kind of focused on Orisa. Uh-oh.
Rail got me.
Where's Sojourn come from here? Yeah, so she's up on the high ground there. You can hear her shooting. You see her over on the side that she's shooting at you. She kind of pushes you, right? And slides up to the high ground. Which is very aggressive play, right? Maybe not the one you expected. So, what could we have done here to stay alive?
Well, I could have been aware of her rocket boots going off and hearing her coming up.
Yep. So primarily, I mean, like, I don't think you're in bad positioning. You didn't really misuse your abilities. You didn't do anything. Like, you didn't have poor movement. The big thing was just that you didn't know she was there, right? So, like you said, it's gonna come down to audio awareness primarily, which is unfortunate. It's not. I wouldn't say this is the most massive mistake you've made, but it's unfortunately like a small mistake that just leads to a death, which can open up to them winning the fight. So even small mistakes can have big consequences sometimes, which is why consistency is so important. Alright, unfortunate. Okay, good job retaking high ground.
They're moving the payload. Shut it down.
This is a mistake here.
Falling apart.
I walked out in front of everybody.
Alright, yep. So, what was the issue there then, like, right? Because we talked about this before, right? We want to analyze, and this will be your path to self-improvement, is being able to develop the skill of analyzing the mistakes you've made, the issue within the mistake, what's the solution to that mistake, and then how can we put it into practice. What was the broad overarching mistake here? It's very simple. You don't have to think very deep on it.
I was just out in the open right here. I should have
Yeah.
been back a little bit more behind on the stairs, behind cover a little bit better if I wanted to get some poke in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. That's and I would just say that's just as a little clarification. That's the issue within the mistake. The overall mistake is that you died, right? Just because you have to remember that there's other mistakes than just dying, right? You can misuse your abilities, misuse your ults, let a teammate die, not get a kill, things like that. That can all be mistakes. So then now that we know that we've died and that's the mistake, that's the issue within the mistake, and you've already yeah, you've nailed it once again, and you seem to be doing really good at understanding, right? But now we have to figure out how to put it into practice, right? Because you have to take what you know in your head and put it into what you're doing in game. Is probably the big takeaway at the moment. So then yeah, just make sure that we're not out in the open here, paying attention to where their team's at and positioning, and using cover.
No one can hide from my sight.
No sweat. Just need a new plan. Coming through.
Life protects life.
Okay, it's gonna take you the same amount of time to come out and just push this high ground, and then you're right here, right? And it's gonna take you the same amount of time to get from here to there, and then now you have much better positioning where you can see here, and then you could even go and slide up to this high ground up here, and then now like look at all this visibility, juicy visibility that you get over their whole team. You land a disruptor shot down on them, and then they start shooting at you. You just drop down, and you're pretty safe back with your team.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so retaking high ground. Remember, even playing at your range, right? Now we're pushing forwards, which is good. Oh, that's juicy.
And ready to fight. That's the stuff.
Good job taking high
Let
ground.
them keep pushing. Stop that payload. Breaking them down.
Okay, maybe shooting some not fully charged shots here, right? You probably aren't going to want to railgun if it's not going to finish any kills, right? Because then it's just kind of gets wasted, right? Even if we land this 40 charge here, it's not going to kill a Mercy, even if we land the headshot on her, right?
Right.
Which just means that we're not going to be getting as much value as we could out of it, right? Because then she can just kind of fly away and get away for free. A lot of times Railgun wants to be that finishing blow. Not always, but a lot of the times it wants to be the finishing blow, because then we just burst them down and they can't get away, they can't run, they can't get heals, they can't do anything. They don't have a chance to escape because we've just burst down all their health to 0. But if you land 40% on her body here, or even on her head, then she just has the chance to get away. And then we do it again here on the Sojourn, where you shoot her with like a 20 charge, and I don't even think that would kill her if we 25 charge, and that wouldn't even get her, even if we landed the headshot. Are breakpoints something you're familiar with? Like, do you think you know like what? Do you just do it off of instinct, or do you know the numbers?
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about, like what number, what percent do you need to be able to kill people?
Well, I know 100% rail is 180 damage.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Other than that, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we can just like go in and experiment with it real quick and get into this. So, like you said, it's not going. Even if you have 100%, it's not going to be a one tap
Yeah.
here. Let's get a tank
Right.
up. Right, so we get 100%. Still not. I think it's 195, not 180, because you can see they have.
Oh,
Like,
is it?
one little sliver there.
You're in the
Yeah.
So it's just barely enough. Like you most of the time can get a kill out of it if they have 5 HP less, but it's not all the time a kill, right? But most of the time you're gonna get a kill out of that, right? So that's how much you get on a base target. But the difference is that a lot of the time you're going to already have been shooting at people, right? When you and they're going to be low HP a lot of the time. So how much damage does it do if we land a body shot? at full charge.
Right on the money.
Body shot, full charge. That's doing. Let's see, if 1, 2, 3, that's 25. That's like you're doing about like 125, 130 damage, 130 damage, something like that. So it's still pretty decent. It's just not going to get them as low if you're landing that body shot. So that means that you would have had to shoot them let's see, just a little bit beforehand. Let's see, if we combo them together, 25, 30 headshot. Oh, we need 35 headshot. Right, so 1, 2, 35 headshot. Right, is your combo to kill, which is gonna be pretty quick while you're shooting. While you're shooting people. That's like 20 I did there. Oh, that was like 20. No, I must have gotten to 30.
A couple of projectiles were still in flight whenever you hit the rail. So it's probably.
Fair enough.
I think it's probably
Yep.
about 35. I think you're right on that.
Yeah, yep. So 35 for the headshot. If we're going for the body shots, well, 45 obviously does it. 35 doesn't do it, so it's probably 40 here. So 35 to 40. If you've landed all your shots on them, it's going to be quicker if you get the disruptor shot in, because then they're down HP. All right. We just kind of do quick taps. So if you're the one doing the damage, you can do it a bit lower. But as we've discussed, 40 to a body just flat up, that's going to do that much damage, right? So if you're just shooting that at mercy, that's not doing enough to kill her. Even if you land that as a headshot, right? That's still doing like, a little over half health. Right, so it's even though it's decent, it's not going to be doing enough. So if you got Sojourn to this much, right, which is kind of what she was at in game maybe, and then you hit her with a 25%, not killing her. If we land the headshot, still not killing her.
Yeah.
So just some things to think about. It's really, you're going, for the most part, if you're just landing your other shots in, it's going to be pretty smooth and quick. You just want to know some of the rough breakpoints of if you're doing the damage. I mean, if you're not doing any damage, you're just trying to shoot them flat up, then you're probably going to want to just full charge it, right? And get up to there. If they're lower health, you can combo it in faster. It's 35, right, if we're getting the head. And then it's 40 if we're hitting the body. With headshots, I guess, is the other thing. Because if we're body shotting and hitting 40, then it's going to be more than that.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a lot of variables to think about, but you just kind of want to be thinking through some of those rough breakpoints. Good audio awareness. You've been doing pretty decent with your awareness, right? You like heard that she slid underneath, so you're like looking around for her. And place a disruptor shot up down in there. But
yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have my slide when Orisa ulted.
What is maybe, so yeah, you didn't have slide available because we kind of slid in place here, right? So we kind of like slide, but then we like just drop back down into the Orisa, right? So you kind of run back into the Orisa, which is probably a big problem. But we also do another problem here. What's the other problem here?
I used my cooldown right here when I didn't need it. Well, actually, she was ulting there, and I figured I'd get out of the way. But
Yep. So I wouldn't say slide is too big of an issue here, right? Because you just you're trying to slide back up to high ground, but the problem is that you drop from high ground in the first place, right? Question becomes, why do we need to drop when you can see the Sojourn in there? You can place a disruptor shot, like you can see her from here, right, from the high ground. You can place a disruptor shot in there, and you can also see like their whole team from up here. So I don't think that there's a reason that you really need to drop from the high ground in the first place. And then that just means that you maintain that better positioning. And then after we do drop from high ground, we kind of run back into an Orisa again, right? Remembering keep a distance if she's a big brawl tank and she can kind of melt you pretty quick.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, good job sliding away. Maybe going a tiny bit far. Be better to be like closer up to the left here where you can re-peek it. But I think you're about to lose anyways because you don't have a tank to contest. Oh no, Udinvis is ulting. So yeah, being up closer is going to be better for you than being all the way over here. Body shots. So come back over here. Could probably be sliding up to high ground at any point during this fight. Because now there's Sojourn's taking it. Oh, probably could have railgunned Orisa there. We kind of get bailed out with the Tree of Life there. This could have been death pretty easily. Right? Issues were pushing out A, right? Out into the open. B, ahead of our tank and our whole team. Which is not usually where you want to be. C, not on high ground, right? So some, once again, positioning things kind of coming into play.
This ends now.
Nice kill. Almost. Probably could just fire a disruptor shot in, right? Because if you're finding that 30-meter distance, then it won't keep going. It'll go midair, right? So if you see that she's trying to res over there, we can fire a disruptor shot from, I would say, maybe like a hair back, so like right here, and that's about 30 meters from here to there, right? And then that explodes like right on top of her and can maybe kill her while she's trying to res. But what do we do?
Charge in.
Right. So why was that death a thing?
That was a mistake, clearly.
Over aggression, right? So the issue within the mistake, over aggression, right? We're just pushing in when we shouldn't be pushing in.
You're falling apart. This ends now.
Okay.
You're falling apart. This ends.
Because this is a longer cooldown, 15 seconds. When you see that the fight's about to start, I'd be wary about just like spamming it in. Usually it's, it's decent when you're in the poke phase. You can use it like kind of once during the poke phase because it's like 15 seconds. You can use it like once during the poke phase, and then you can use it once or twice during the fight, right? Maybe like one time at the start of the fight, one time at the end of the fight. But here we kind of like throw it in, kind of just haphazardly before right before the fight starts, which just means that we don't have it when the fight does start. Might be more handy like to be able to like plop it down like right here to stop Sojourn from pushing through, or to melt her really quickly as she's trying to push through. Wouldn't really. So we're running into sometimes maybe some issues with target priority, right? Like sometimes maybe we're overly focused on Orisa. Here we're trying to snipe a Valking Mercy out of the air when you have a Sojourn like an inch from you who you can headshot, right? Or we could have maybe tried to push Orisa when she was low HP. Like here we get her pretty low. If we like slide over into a headshot or something like that, we can maybe get her with our full charge railgun. Okay, you can see crosshair placement once again. We're adjusting, and then where we're going to our toes again. Now we're at our knees, body, right instead of our head.
Can't let them keep pushing. Stop that payload.
All right.
Fire at will.
All right. Why don't we? I think we've gotten a good view here. Think it might be good to maybe get one game in, one quick play game. See if we can try to get in the habits of putting into action. And then next time we can also do the same thing, especially if you're still struggling with the same things, because it looks like a lot of times it's like the same things. Like this session, once again, I think the main things that keep coming up are positioning, and then even like within that is like survivability. Like we're dying because we're just not positioning right. I think you're doing a little bit better on awareness. I think for the most part, you're doing pretty good with awareness. So maybe we're looking at like positioning and then mechanics. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and get that open, and let me know when you have it. I have to do like a thing where I use my remote. Forgot about that.
Can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right. So yeah, like I said, when you're getting to this game, I'd focus primarily on positioning and trying to use cover, take high grounds, not stay in the right range. Don't like push into the Orisa, but also don't stand a mile away. Do you remember what's Sojourn's range that she likes?
Yeah, without having to burst fire, probably about 30 meters.
30 meters, but you remember you can give yourself a little bit of a range to work with. You don't have to stick at like one spot the entire game. Usually it's like 15 to 30 meters because that's your mid range. That not because she's a mid range character, so not pushing and getting in 5 meters from the Orisa, which we did on multiple occasions, but then also not backing up and playing at 50 meters, which we did sometimes too. So we're gonna focus on those. I'm gonna help hopefully jumpstart and start and give you some of those reminders as you're playing, right? I'll hopefully be that voice in your head, and then you'll after this have to be your own voice in your head giving yourself those reminders. Just like we said before, remember to come into your play session thinking about come into your play session thinking about what you want to work on, and then be actively thinking about it as you're playing.
Can't change the world by following all the rules.
Five, four, three, two, one. Attack commencing. Capture objective A. Disrupting.
Oh,
Oh shit.
Disconnect.
I was trying to jump there. It didn't take the input for some reason.
Okay, so right now we can maybe be like sliding to top right high ground, right?
You're falling apart.
Good kill. Good job getting away from him. Right. Very smooth. We're up right now, so if you know we want, our team can be pushing at the moment if we wanted to.
Rails empowered and ready to fire.
Nice. Good job being a little aggro. Remember, you can like if they're trying to be in that little room, you can chuck a disruptor shot in on them.
Okay.
Okay. When Genji dives in on top of you guys, you can put like a disruptor shot like at your feet or on your teammates, because that can help pressure him off. You slide up
Okay.
to him if he's low HP up there. If you got McCree to 1 HP, you can go after that. Which, unfortunate. then we kind of push into like their whole team on accident. So got to be careful of that. Because at that point, I don't know if you saw it, but in kill feed, McCree already died, and then he got rezzed.
That feels much better.
Remember poking head level.
Disrupting. We're outnumbered. Watch yourself. Efficient
Good job.
design at work. Not so fast.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Thanks. Rails in charge. My barrier is gone. I'm on fire. This ends now.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Cybernetics regulated. Disrupting.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Hitting the ground
You can
running.
try playing if you're gonna place a disruptor down. You can try playing more around it. But besides that, I'd say primarily just comes down to the mechanics of landing your shot on him. Or when you're sliding away from him, you canceled it pretty quickly. So sliding further away from him is gonna be, is gonna help keep you alive there.
60 seconds. Rails empowered and ready to fire. Not so fast.
Barrier is splintering.
Rails, you've come this far to quit now. Thanks.
Barrier cannot withstand much more.
I know this guy's here.
Think I'd ever let you down?
Okay, good job chasing him down.
Thanks for the help. Dodge this. This ends now.
Guide you.
All right. Really quickly, are you able to send me that code? I just want to show you that last fight really quickly because we
Okay.
ended up swapping targets a lot. Even after sometimes we
Okay.
got people low HP, which is probably like the big thing. So we're just gonna like really quickly look over that last fight just so you can see. Because it was going really well. You guys were like 5v3, and then we just didn't kill things fast enough, which is probably the problem. All right.
Gotcha. Okay.
What's the code?
1 second. Let me get it. Okay, it's 6YP0NW.
NW or MW?
November whiskey.
November, yeah, thank you.
Ready for battle.
Okay.
Ready for battle.
Okay, so last fight, we were doing pretty decent. We come in and let's look at how many times we swap targets here. So we shoot monkey, we get him like decent, like we get him half HP. So here, like it's okay choice either way you go, but your whole team is already looking at monkey with you. Oh, for some reason it's not letting me free roam right now. I don't know why free cam is disabled. Probably just because it's like stinging controller to PC, console to PC. So right now your whole team's looking at him. We could land the railgun on him and try to finish him, but other that like so that you can like just be shooting at the same thing with your team, right? So that's something we could be doing here. Plus we're like on the same target, but we swap targets. We shoot a railgun into his shield, place disruptor at our feet. Okay, we swap over to Baptiste, right? So we swap from monkey to Bap. Not the most horrible swap. Throughout this whole fight, main point with swapping targets is you only ever want to swap targets if either you find a better target or the target you've been the opportunity you had has been lost. So let's say monkey was low and now he's full HP, or you're shooting at somebody who's off by themselves and then now they're getting healed, right? So you only ever swap if you've lost an opportunity or you find a better target. So we shoot at Bap, but notice how we stop shooting at Bap and back up. I should stop going off of you if I can't free roam. We stop shooting at Bap, we back off, we look at Mercy, we look at Monkey, we look back to Bap, right? So we went from Monkey to Bap to Mercy to Monkey to Bap, right? All within the course of, 5 seconds. Then we swap back to Mercy. We shoot at Mercy. Once again, probably not the target to go for if Mercy's Valking. Not going to go too well. It's very difficult to land that shot. We swap back to Monkey. Okay, we see, okay, Monkey's not dying. We place Disruptor shot down. Maybe instead of just plopping Disruptor on cart, we could be peeking this corner on like BAP and using it to burst down these guys. Because remember, Disruptor shots can be used to burst down people's HP, right? To whittle, it's an extra little bit of whittle damage on them.
Right.
So we peek and we're looking at these guys, which is, I think, a good idea. We get BAP to 1 HP, but then he just gets around the corner, which is unfortunate. So now that's an example you've lost the opportunity. You can't slide in there because he has his teammates back now. but you just lost the opportunity to get the kill. Okay, now we turn around. Now we're back on Monkey. Mercy's probably who we want to be on because Mercy's with him right here. So I don't know if we don't see Mercy or what, but Mercy should be what we're shooting at because remember, target priority, right? We've talked about target priority before, right?
A little bit. We
Little
brushed
bit.
over it.
Brushed over it. Maybe we should go more in depth on that next time. But generally speaking, shoot at the easier targets, not the harder targets. So if Mercy is standing right next to Monkey, shoot at the Mercy, right? And then here we can just burst her down with a quick shot. Then you get Monkey low, but then you duck around the corner from the Monkey, so you can't even railgun him, right? We could if we railgun him, maybe we burst him down and kill him, right? Then we ult here. Okay. We get Monkey. Look at Monkey's health here. That's like 1 or 2 more railguns, and yet we look away from Monkey and swap targets again, even though he's low. And we swap targets back to these guys, and that's done, right? So notice how we just swap from target to target to target to target to target to target, and we kept swapping around. We weren't always looking at the most optimal thing, right? We're maybe looking at Mercy while she's Valking, or Monkey when there's Mercy right next to her. And then when people were low HP, we weren't finishing them off. That makes sense? Any other questions on that?
No, it makes sense.
Okay. So that is, and then we have notes anyways. So let's really quickly talk over target priority. So target priority, right? Easiest is usually best. Now there's other nuances to target priority, but that's what the basic we'll cover for the moment. Is easiest is best. The hardest targets in the game that they've made are tanks. They have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters. They have armor, they have tanking abilities, they have shields, etc. They're the easiest to heal. They're so tanky, right? They're gonna stay alive. So if you're shooting at them and shooting at them and shooting at them, they're not gonna die. And sometimes you're over-focusing tanks. Now, sometimes the problem on Sojourn becomes like, oh, I want to shoot tanks because I can charge up my railgun on them, right?
Yeah.
But then the problem becomes then you just over focus on the tank and then they just get healed and they get healed and then you're just shooting them the whole time and then we try to get the railguns but they still stay alive. So just be careful that you're not shooting at them the entire game. You shoot at you. It's not to say you never shoot at tanks. You shoot at them if they're low, if they're out of position, if they're the only thing you can shoot at. Then shoot at them. If you're just charging up railgun because you're poking, I wouldn't do it in the middle of a fight. But if you're poking from back here and that's the easiest thing to charge railgun on, then do it. And then maybe you railgun a squishy, right? But if you have equal opportunities, let's say you're in a fight and you can equally choose to either shoot at a Monkey or a Mercy, or a Monkey and a Mercy, you're going to shoot at the Mercy, because Mercy's going to blow up, and Monkey's not. Or you can actively even search out and seek after those squishier and easier targets, so you can try to get around the tanks and around the shields to those easier targets. Does that all make sense? Any questions there?
No questions.
Yep. And high grounds and off angles will be what allow you to get around to those targets, right? Because high grounds act as off angles. Have we talked about off angling?
Yeah.
Yep. So
wherever the enemy team is not looking.
Yep. So that
off angle.
Exactly, right? So that the short and easy way to just get to the side of them. Enemy team, your team, just coming off to the side real quick, right? And that's just going to get you around those tanks and to their back line. We can just peek with a disruptor shot. Boop. Do. Right, get a kill. That sort of thing. So, just be watching out for that. So let's put that, let's do the wrap-up review main points, and I'll get you your notes after this. Okay. Abilities, honestly, not too shabby. I mean, like, there could be some work in different areas. Like, slide, sometimes we're canceling it too early. Overall, usually it's looking pretty solid. Disruptor shot, watch just that you're not just spamming with it, like be maybe a hair more intentional behind it. Remember that unless you're trying to go for that like max range disruptor shot where you're at 30 meters and trying to get it to explode on them, a lot of times you're trying to hit it on an object, not on a person. That way it's not just sailing past them. You want it to go, instead of aiming at the bot, you're aiming at the feet of the bot. Oh, that just went through this thing. But if you're aiming at the feet, then it'll explode on their feet and hit everybody, right? Throw it in rooms with people, throw it on yourself if they're diving you. You can slide. This is something I was thinking, like when McCree kept being on that high ground, You
Mhm.
can just be going and sliding up to that high ground with a disruptor shot, and like, because what we were doing is we just like fire a disruptor shot up there. Instead, imagine if we slid up there with a disruptor shot and then just go ba 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 bam, right, and we kind of melt them really quickly. And I can just get them out of the way quicker, and then you can drop back to your team. If you get under pressure, you can just drop back to them. Railgun, pretty solid. Just watch those breakpoints. Overall abilities, like a higher end of a low to medium priority for you to work on. Ult usage, honestly, not too shabby. Not perfect, but I think you're doing pretty decent with it. You'll just get better at it with mechanics and positioning, especially. So other things will impact your ult usage for the most part. So overall, that one was like a low to medium, somewhere in that range. Next comes mechanics. Mechanics is a lot of things. Head level, big thing, crosshair placement. Aim at head level, aim where you know people are going to be. We're aiming down here so much that we're just going to be hitting all the body shots, all the body shot railguns, and it's just going to, you're going to be killing people like twice as slow. And when you're killing people twice as slow, it's really more like 3 times as slow, because when you're killing people twice as slow, that means that they have time to get heals, they have time to get away, they have time to escape, to get abilities and use them and react to and just get away from you, right? And then because they can do all that, that really turns into 3 times as slow, right? So that's something to keep in mind, right? Headshots isn't going to be twice as fast, it's going to be 3 times as fast, right? Then besides that, we just talked about target priority. And don't swap between targets. Don't go like do during a fight, right? Stay on something and whittle them down. If you tickle everybody, then nobody dies. If you whittle someone down, then you can get the kill, right? Only swap if if you lose the opportunity or if you find a better opportunity. Ooh, that's a good way to say it. Then
it better myself.
Overall, that one was probably like a higher end of a medium. Then next comes positioning, use cover, take high grounds, take those off angles, stay in your proper ranging, right? Watch overextending and just pushing into their team. Remember, 15 meters, 30 meters, proper range. You can ping people and see that above their heads. Don't push right here on Orisa. Don't be standing all the way back there on average. Overall, that was like a medium high, somewhere in that range. Awareness actually was, I think, doing pretty solid. You had good audio awareness that in those games. You knew where people were at. Just some odds and ends here or there where where you didn't know where people were, or you had to listen or pay attention to where your teammates were, watching kill feed, things like that. There were some awareness things, but overall it is pretty solid. That was like a we'll say like lower end of a medium. So to put that all in order, number 1 was your positioning. Number 2 was your mechanics. Number 3 was your ability usage. Then your awareness, and then finally ult usage, not really a problem. Any final questions?
So I'd say you would agree that there's been some improvement on awareness for sure.
Yep.
It seems like positioning's still at the top of the list as it has been.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, I honestly, I'd say mechanics is pretty close to positioning. So if you're feeling like you're wanting to if you feel like you want to swap things up and try something new, then go for mechanics. But overall, I'd say positioning's maybe a hair bit more important for the moment, because it's also it's leading to your deaths and also just a lack of being able to do things. So I'd say it's a hair more important for the moment. But like I said, if you're trying to just look for something new, I'd swap to mechanics and just make sure that you're really focusing and being intentional and think about it. Read through the notes. You're paying for it, so read through the notes before you start playing your games. Read it while you're in queue, things like that. Yeah. Anything else?
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Yep. My pleasure.